Welcome to another podcast, y'all. Really excited to have our guest on today, Mr. Jaren Hall, former BYU quarterback, incredible dad, on his way to the NFL. A lot going on in his life right now, so thanks for coming, dude.
Sure, no problem.
I really appreciate it. So this guy, man, if you're a BYU football fan, you got to witness some greatness out of this guy. And I know I don't need to tell him how great he is already. He already kind of knows it. But the thing about Jaren is he's so humble that you couldn't say stuff like this to make his head bigger. That's one of the things I really respect about you. So anyway, so tell us what you've been up to, Jaren. Like we know that you're on your way. You're in the process of looking to be drafted. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. What are you doing to keep yourself in check or prepare yourself?
Yeah, I still keep a good routine. I'm working out every day. I just work out, at the school with Dr. Main and his crew over there that works at BYU, so nice and close to home. We moved back from California about a month ago, just before Pro Day, so had that event, and I just got back into my routine. So every day working out. Still a lot of Zoom calls with teams. I've had handfuls of workouts. Spent a week or two on the road visiting teams, and so it's just been trying to work out, trying to throw when I can, because the draft is this week, and as soon as you're drafted, you could start mini camp within 2-3 days, or you could start within a week and a half. So you have to find time to get ready for mini camp as if it's season. So it's a lot going on right now, but it'll all be worth it when that time comes. So
yeah, no doubt. Has it been exhausting for the most part?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I imagine.
You're exhausted every night. Because you're talking to people all day, you're working out in the mornings. So just trying to find time with Bree and with Jada at night just to hang out. I try to find time to go to the golf course and unwind. It's just you don't get all the downtime that you're used to having. So it's a brutal off season, but just hope it's worth it, and I think it will be.
It definitely will be. We've had to rearrange the schedule a few times.
Oh
Jaren's
yeah.
literally like I feel like every night I'm getting a text, bro. I'm sorry, dude. I got some meetings with teams tomorrow, and I get it. We're all excited for you, man. So you mentioned, is golf your downtime? Like, if you can get out there, that's your therapy.
Yeah, that's all I do now. I got nothing else on the side. Family time, and then for me, it's just golf. That's my therapy. Being outside, swinging it a little bit. It's my thing.
That's great. Who do you go golfing with?
Just whoever. Buddies, teammates.
Anyone?
My wife will come out with me sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She'll just come watch, drive the car, bring Jada.
That's actually something they always say that you should find a hobby that you and your wife love.
Yeah.
And my grandparents, that's all they did. I mean, for 30 years, they were golfing all over the world.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they were down, locally here.
Yeah, that's a dream right there. That's one day. My wife's she doesn't play right now. She hopefully will get into it one day. Maybe when the kids are out of the house, we'll see.
That's good. So who is the best golfer you've played with thus far?
Man, Fessy, Coach Fess is probably
really.
Oh yeah, he's a freaking stick. That dude can play. Probably Fess or my brother KJ. He's pretty good too.
Is he?
I'm trying to think if I played with any scratch golfers. I think Fess might be scratch actually. Yeah, probably him. Probably Fess.
You been out with Tony Finau yet? I'm sure that'll happen.
One day, if I'm lucky, I would love to. Yeah,
Tony
he can
golf.
swing it. Yeah, I bet.
He's good. So I have a number of questions for you, man. And I've been fortunate to get to know you a little bit over the course of the past few years, and you're different, man. And I say that in the most. I honestly have so much respect for you for a number of reasons, but you are different. And one of the things I'll tell you about Jaren. So, I do all these Gigg campaigns, right? And so we do these videos where we bring in players or celebrities or influencers, give them a line that they have to recite, right? And normally a lot of this stuff needs to happen quick. And I always worry whether or not guys can deliver their lines. Like, dude, I will tell you, one of your teammates, actually, I'm going to say 3 of your teammates, I thought the rest of the boys were going to kill them because they couldn't get their lines down.
I think I remember a couple of those.
And Jaren, if you watch the 2 that he did, this dude is a one-take wonder. Like, I'm not kidding. This is not normal. And he just has it. So any of you companies out there looking for a face, this guy will never let you down when it comes to doing any commercials or whatever. But that says something about you. And I had time to watch you around your teammates, and there is something there is a leadership quality that you carry that lingers. And I think one of the things that I would say most any, and I've read this about you, with how the pro scouts see you. You are a leader, the essence of a leader. And I know how humble you are, and it's going to be hard to talk about this, but I think this is important because I'm all about learning about a person, their persona, their brand. Where did leadership? Is there a moment in your life where you realized that you were a leader? Is it something that I don't know your mother's name, but I love Kaylin. You have an incredible father that I know is instilled goodness and leadership in you. But was there a moment that it all started for you as a leader?
I don't know if it's interesting because I haven't thought about this situation in a long time. High school football camp my senior year is when I really felt like I was kind of taking over a program, kind of had to be a voice a little bit. So I'm a pretty quiet, pretty reserved dude. We had a little camp, brought in a couple local teams to scrimmage us. We weren't doing well, and it was very uncharacteristic of me. I got pretty upset with myself with our team. I kind of got after a couple guys. And I'd never done that before, extremely uncomfortable. And I remember afterwards talking to my dad that night because he saw it. He approached me. He was like, hey, kind of how you did that or what you said, it wasn't the right way to go about it. And I remember exactly what I did. I want to say what I did, but it wasn't good. My mother would have been proud of me. And from that moment, I think it was that moment, the way I approach those situations changed, just how I bring people along, how I try to lead. And a lot of people like to be screamers. They like to be yellers, get in people's faces. But I just realized from then on that's just not how I do it. There might be a time and a place for that. If something is really, going south, whether it's sports or it's life, you got to be like that. But had you asked me this question any day before just now, I probably would have said it was just the way I was raised. And it was. That's 95% of it. But I think that one situation, I don't know why it just came to mind, but it did. I feel like since then I've never had any interactions like that. Never gotten after people that severely since then. But I think, again, that just goes back to the way I was raised. But that is one instance in football where I can remember, my dad kind of helping me learn how to appropriately approach those situations. And I think just since then it's kind of carried on.
That's really cool, man. There's got to be some type of pressure as you're moving into this next level, but I think the one thing that will always be the leading light or guide for you is the person you are. And it's interesting to watch. I've had a lot of friends that have moved on to the next level in professional sports. And I would say that the majority of them have stayed true to who they are, but some of them have fallen by the wayside.
Sure.
You are in a really, really good position because I think, number one, you got a beautiful wife and family. And how important is family for you moving into this next level?
Yeah, it's number one. I said at the combine, and a lot of people have talked to me about it, but kind of my 3 F's are just family, faith, and football. So those three all kind of come together. Football obviously kind of takes a front seat in the time that I spend doing it. I'm at football more than I am with my family or the more that I'm spending in my faith. Football is just number one because that's what it requires. But, my heart and my mind always understands the importance of family. And that's always, my 1A, and it goes from there. But, everything else I do is always for family. And it's because of what I believe. But, when you have a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter, to what you alluded to, it makes everything a lot more worth it. So all the sacrifice and everything is for them. And it just gives you another reason of why you do something that's tough and something that requires your time. But, every night I wake up with my family and every night I go home to them. And so that's always where I want to start the day. It's where I want to finish the day. That's
awesome, man. You're always giving the right answers. That's another thing you do really, really well is you answer questions right. You've done a lot of these. How many podcasts or interviews have you done?
I've tried to avoid them this draft process. Actually, I'm kind of getting started now going into the draft. Other than team interviews, I've done maybe 1 or 2 just interviews. No podcasts since this is kind of the start. I might get a couple before the draft, but absolutely. But I'm very picky with who I want to get on with, just because, it's not my thing. I don't love doing it. But with the right people, I'm always for it. So.
Oh, man, that means a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I want to go back into the leadership side. I have such a tremendous respect for leaders that have developed that skill, because leading people is not an easy thing. It can be a lonely road.
Yeah.
Pressure. Are there leaders in your life outside? I'm certain that you're going to mention your parents, but
Sure.
Outside of maybe your parents, are there any leaders that have that have played a role in your life that you have looked to, or that you look to as a leader? Who comes to mind when it comes to that stuff?
That is a phenomenal question. Man, I should be paying attention to that a lot more. I feel like I'm such an independent dude. I've always tried to figure things out on my own. Jesus, is that an acceptable answer?
It is the answer.
You
Yeah,
know,
Christ is.
shoot. Honestly, I'd say Jesus for sure. I mean, we had our first OC, Coach Grimes, would always talk about, Jesus being the toughest football player in the world. If he were to play the game, he'd knock you out in the field, and then he'd pick you up and outside
I've
the
never
field,
heard
you know
that.
what I mean? And I don't know. I just can't think of any. I mean, there's been a lot of leaders. At BYU, I've had a lot of teammates
Great
that are
coaches,
older,
great teammates.
coaches. Like they've all had moments where I've said, okay, that's a guy I can follow, or that's a guy I want to be like. Man, I could name handfuls of them, but I think that's the guy though, right there.
That's great. Have you seen the Chosen series?
I have, yeah.
What do you think?
Great, fantastic.
Isn't it so good?
Is the third season out yet? Are they about to release
Is
it?
it?
Maybe.
I'm looking to Michelle back here.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
out.
it is out.
Okay, I've seen a lot of it on Facebook. Kind of some. I need to get on that. I've watched 1 and 2, but I need to watch 3.
Yeah, man, it is so good. I mean, I'll tell you one of the things. I mean, Christ, the dude that plays Christ is amazing.
Oh, phenomenal.
And I don't know if you've learned about how they put the show together, but the guy spent time learning from all these different, faiths and organizations and religious, groups as to how they see the
Right.
Savior. And he wanted to make an effort to help everyone see the Savior in a very universal way.
Oh, for sure.
But one of the things I love about the show, I love how it portrays the apostles. Mm-hmm. And they were Peter, dude, and like all these guys.
Goofy dudes, just
These
normal.
I mean, these guys were normal men.
Yeah.
And for me, man, like I choke up thinking about it, just because these were normal men that the Savior had time to work with.
Yeah.
And just like you and I, because you and I are not perfect, and no one really is perfect.
Far from it.
But that's what he had to work with, man.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing I know about you, man, is moving to the next level. I know you're going to stay true to who you are and what you're about, and you'll impact the lives of many, many people.
Thank you. I hope so.
It's not even a question for me, and that excites me. And I think that there's going to be some good times ahead for you, and I'm really looking forward to it. I have another question for you. So I love the game of baseball, and I know you do too.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear about the struggle when you had to make a decision, because you were playing ball at the Y. Like, really, like, how did you decide between the two sports?
Yeah.
Because football and baseball are my two sports. I would have chosen baseball.
It was tough for a day, honestly, because I just finished the COVID baseball season. I played pretty good. I had a great series against New Mexico. Kind of started to figure I never played summer ball, so I could never get the at-bats I needed. Could never hit a freaking slider or change up. You gave me a fastball, I'm going to be all over it. So I wasn't great. COVID year, had a great series, a couple home runs, it was whatever. I played really good, and I was starting to gain my love for it again. And then didn't have a great last day of that series, struck out a couple times, and then I didn't play the next series we had, and that ended up being the game where COVID kicked in, canceled the season. So I'm sitting there, I'm working out for football, and I had a little hip injury in baseball at the time, and so I'm kind of weighing my options, what I want to do. And then my hip got worse during COVID, so it was really an injury that started the thoughts of what I wanted to do if I wanted to keep doing it, because I was just doing too much, lifting twice a day, baseball games, spring ball practice. My body just couldn't handle it, and so at that point I had to think about what I wanted to do more. At the time, football was covering my scholarship, was paying for my school.
Right.
Baseball couldn't offer full rides unless you were a guy that'd been there for a while, right? There was maybe 1 or 2 guys on full ride on a 34, I think it is 34 or something like that, man roster for baseball. And so really it just came down to football, would have paid for my school. But then at the same time, I still loved football. I had lost the job to Zach a couple years in a row. We all know he balled out and turned out to be the great player he was. So that was what it was. But for me, I realized if I wanted to play football, I had to really dedicate myself to it. And so football was number one for me, the whole time through. I love baseball. It was always kind of a side thing in my mind just because all my time was spent playing football. And then a lifestyle decision, moving on, I knew baseball would require a lot more out of me down the road. And, I knew I was going to get married to my wife. We were dating at the time. I knew I was going to propose. We were going to have kids. And so it just seemed like football was more realistic for our family in the amount of time. And then my heart was just with football.
Yeah, I think it was a good choice. And you brought up a good point. I would imagine that baseball would be the toughest on a relationship.
I think so.
Was it 170 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a good friend and guy I work with. His name's Steve Sachs. You probably don't even know who this guy is, but Steve Sachs played for the Yankees, Dodgers.
Okay.
And it was tough. It was tough on him.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
It was tough on him.
Yeah.
Also, Danny Ainge, another friend, and he played both sports.
Yeah.
He played both sports. But I think it was a good decision. I'm sure that you spent a lot of time talking about it. Was your dad pushing you towards football?
Nah, I actually didn't talk to him at all. My
Really?
dad, it's funny. Like, me and my dad are tight and we're close, but I think going on a mission, being a little more mature, being out of the house, he kind of gets I'm pretty independent, me and my wife. I always ask for questions if I have them, but for life choices, I feel like he loves to give us kids our space.
That's the way to do it.
Especially with football. He doesn't want to be a coach. He doesn't want to be a life counselor. If we need questions, we'll go to him. But he just wants to be dad and kind of support it, which I love. So that decision was really just me and my wife.
Yeah, man, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You've been married how long now?
Going on 4 years.
4 years. And you got the one,
Yep.
right?
Little Jada, yeah.
Little Jada, she's so dang cute.
She's cutie.
That is awesome, man. So how'd you like California? Did you like it out there?
Smooth, yeah.
Where were you living
in
out there?
Orange County, right in Irvine. Beautiful. Such a nice place. We loved it.
I grew up down in Huntington Beach.
Oh, yeah. We went to that's where I trained. John's facility's there, so that's where we go. I went and drove there every day.
John Beck. Man, John Beck, such a good dude, number one. And it's incredible, the guys that he's working with.
Right.
I mean, he's working with the elite.
Oh, yeah. They're taking over the football game.
What's it called?
Sure.
3D? What's the name of the?
3D QB.
3D QB. So when you're working with him, what are the things that you got? What would you say that he focuses on most? Reading, all of the above, footwork, reading
everything.
defense?
I mean, when they get you, they want to. Obviously, it's just to throw at first, so they'll watch you throw, just have you throw normal. They'll start tweaking you, and then you'll work on how to throw first. At least that was my experience. So for the first year, before my first year starting that summer, we just worked on my throwing, tightening everything up. Watched a little bit of film, and then through the season, I could ask questions anytime I needed. And then the next year was a little more consistent. I was out there a lot more. We started getting into a lot more film, going through our offense, going through our plays, kind of picking everything apart, and then still hitting the throwing. So throwing is always the emphasis every day. And then you can Zoom. If you find time when I'm out there, I can watch film at someone's house, at his facility, whatever. And then for the draft, it was a lot more focused on getting ready for Senior Bowl, going over the plays before, combine, memorizing the throws with him because he'd been through it before, coached tons of dudes doing it. And then pro day, writing the script with him. So combine prep was less about throwing mechanics and more about memorizing scripts and what you're going to do. And now, since I'm through all that stuff, it'll be back to the normal, working on your throwing, footwork. You go to a new organization, you'll have probably new footwork if they want you to do something different. So you share that information with him and his partners, and they'll help you do that. So, but again, like you said, they work with so many people. The NFL is just a big coaching tree. Everyone falls from different branches, and they cycle through until, eventually everyone knows everybody. So John, they know every coach in the league, all the systems. So they're such a good help with that stuff. And once I find out where I'm going, I'm sure we'll be able to chop it up over playbooks and what the coaches expect. And so they just offer so much more than just quarterback technique. It's pretty phenomenal the way they've kind of taken over the game and every aspect of it as a quarterback.
I've heard some incredible things about that John and what he's doing out there. So for a second, I look. There's people that are born with talent, right? There are people that naturally have an athletic ability, right? And it's in your genes, whether you like it or not. But one of the things that I wanted to ask you, and it's almost like you're speaking to my boys and just youth everywhere. I think all of us as kids, we want to play professionally, like we talk about it. We're in different scenarios.
Yeah.
Bottom of the ninth, up to the plate, boom, I'm going to do this. Or, fourth quarter, I'm going to, catch this touchdown over my shoulder in the end zone, blah, blah, blah. We all have those dreams, but there's something that happens. There has to be extra effort put in.
Yeah.
So, like, there's practices, right? Mm-hmm. There's practices that we all go to,
right.
In high school, junior high. But will you tell me some of the things that happened in your childhood? I don't know when it started, because I know it did at one point. What things were happening outside of practice with you personally? And
it started with my dad pushing all of us. He'd always make us do extra. no matter what it was. We were always doing something extra, more than everybody else, because you compete with your teammates first. I never wanted to be better than my teammates. I didn't look at it like that, but I want to be the best. So I'm always doing more than everybody else. I want to make sure I'm starting first. I want to put myself in the field, and I want to compete with everybody else. So we were always doing extra. Start with my dad. Growing up, I watched my brother KJ play. He balled out. He was a freaking stud. Watched him play baseball, basketball, football. That drove my competitiveness in me. I wanted to be just like my older brother.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I got into high school, I was playing 3 sports just like he was. He was about to go on to his mission and eventually go to BYU. And that's when, really when I decided I wanted to make a commitment to play college ball, my dad got involved. He was like, okay, well, he'd played it. He'd been there, thrived under the veil, and then played in the CFL for a couple of seasons. He knew what it took. And so I just remember there were, like, for example, there would be Friday nights we just finished the basketball game. I remember we played Pace in high school, won the game. I'm talking to all my friends in the hallway, like, what are we going to go do tonight? My dad goes, hey, come here, go get your lifting shoes. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, we're going to go work out right now. And I'm like, are you you kidding me? It's a Friday night. I'm trying to go get some food. We just played a basketball game. He's like, I don't care. We're going to go lift. And so I'm in there back squatting, benching. I mean, I'm going through a full lift after a basketball game, and I'm exhausted. And so, and at that point, I'm missing out on my friends. I'm missing out on hanging out. I had a job on Saturdays. I never hung out. And so it just came a point where I realized, okay, you know what? I don't need that stuff right now, because when I was done with that lift, the high that I got, looking at myself in the mirror all jacked up, chilling, like, and it's just the thought of, like, okay, I just did something that no other kid in the country had done at that point. That's a pretty cool feeling. And it just became a high that I kept trying to chase, and eventually it turned into extra workouts 3-4 a week, and then I'm getting the keys to the weight room on my own, getting kicked out by the janitor. So it just kind of built from there. And I
started with Pops?
Yeah, I started with my dad, because he knew what to do. Someone's got to show you the ropes, and if not, you got to figure it out at some point. So just experiences like that. That's what really took me to the next level, I think.
Would you do the same thing with your son one day,
or
daughter?
See,
son?
And I'm convinced we're not going to have a son because of how hard I'm going to be on that kid, because of what it takes. But shoot, that's if they want to play sports. Which I hope they do. But yeah, and I'll definitely have my own flavor on how I parent. But the way my mom and dad raised us in life and how we approach sports and the extra work, shoot, it's got me to this point. I'm not content with where I'm at, but I'm in a pretty good situation. So I think I'd raise them fairly similar if they decide to take that route.
I think that's a lost art this day and age. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I think parents have become too easy sometimes.
Yeah.
One of my greatest concerns is whether or not I'm pushing my kids,
right,
hard enough.
Right.
It's important, man. And at the time you're thinking, I don't know, you gotta have had moments with Kalen when your dad, where you're like, Dad, come on, man, this is too much.
Right. Oh yeah, all the time. And I think, and he never took that for an answer. And I think had I complained enough, he would eventually said, all right, fine, go do what you want to do. Kind of let me pay the consequences. But I feel like I love competing. I love football and baseball and basketball just enough that I'd kind of give in and say, okay, we'll go do this. I might have gone through the motions a couple times, and the workouts might not have been fast enough for my dad, but I'm just glad I stuck with it. I really am.
Yeah, your dad, Kalen is what's funny is Kalen was my favorite running back at BYU in my day.
That's awesome.
I told him this, he's like, don't you ever tell me that story again. I said, dude, when I was 10 years old, my dad let me run down on the field after one of the best games you had. I don't know if it was Kansas State. I can't remember who it was. I have it written down. And he took them off. He took off his gloves, signed them, and handed them to me. So I still have them. I actually was going to bring him to you today to give it to him.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know
that. But that dude loves his family, and it's apparent that family was first in his life, and that stuff, it carries, man.
Oh yeah,
it carries. Families are more important than anything else. But it's cool to hear, these stories, and it inspires me. All right. So as we're starting to close down the house here, I have some fun questions for you. Actually, first of all, being able to play as many sports as you had, I know that you at one point or another have respected athletes out there, but I want to know who's the greatest athlete of all time. If you had to say the greatest athlete of all time.
I'm going to say Bo Jackson. If I'm saying the greatest athlete of all time.
Did you hear that?
I say Bo Jackson for sure.
I think I almost want to just end on that note. This is a massive argument inside this office. It's not even a question, dude. If you watch Bo Jackson, yes, his career was cut short.
Sure.
Actually, I shouldn't talk. Why is he the best? Just if you wouldn't mind, share with us why he's the best athlete of
Man,
all
I
time.
could go on forever, but keep it simple. Having played, I think to be an athlete, one, your body has to work top to bottom athletically. You got to look good doing something. You got to have force. You got to have coordination doing it. And the top half, if you've ever played golf, ever tried to swing a club, ever tried to swing a baseball bat, it's incredibly difficult to do.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And then on the flip side, it's tough to go out there, play football, use your lower half, cut, juke. I mean, all that stuff. And I just use those two sports because that covers top to bottom.
Yeah.
But if you can do those things athletically, and in his case, at the highest level in the MLB and in the NFL, I mean, that kind of checks off both those boxes. I mean, because I see football players who are great football players, fantastic, but I watch them go out there and swing a golf club or try to throw a baseball, and they look ridiculous.
Oh, I know.
Oh, my, like they look – I mean, we go to Topgolf every year as a team. They look ridiculous, and it's so funny to watch. But then you got some, golfers, or you got baseball players, or again, those are just the sports I'm using. Not that other sports aren't athletic.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I know.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm going to use my reasoning off of. But you watch them try to go play football. It's going to be horrible. So that's my reason.
Well, you're
number one.
The thing is you're absolutely right, and anyone disagrees does not understand sports. No offense to anyone watching here.
Yeah.
I just saw some Deion Sanders just was interviewed, and did you see it when they?
I did. I was going to say Deion was also close. He's a close second. I think Bo's just more bigger, more explosive.
Deion definitely. Yeah, Bo is a better athlete,
yeah.
And Deion will admit that. But they asked Deion, "What's the toughest sport out there that you think are the toughest thing to do?" And he said, "Swinging a baseball bat."
Hitting a baseball, 100%.
Yeah, it's
no question
it's
about
on another level.
You put an average athlete out there trying to hit a 95 mile an hour fastball and then an 80 mile an hour slider. Be twisted up.
It's crazy.
No
crazy.
shot.
Scientifically speaking, like statistically speaking, it's next to impossible.
The reaction time is almost impossible.
You're different. You can do that. So, okay. So the next question, I'm gonna start going into some crazy questions. Did you ever get into comics as a kid? Who's your favorite superhero of all time? Do you have one?
I mean, I'm a big movie buff. I didn't read comics though. I don't have time to read.
Yeah,
I got you. Sports.
Yeah, I would imagine. But if you had to pick your favorite superhero,
shoot. After watching all the Marvel, I'd say Iron Man.
He's a stud. He's top 5 for me.
For sure.
That's a good one. So you are a movie buff.
Oh, yeah, I watch all the Marvels. I keep up with it.
Yeah, I love it.
Watch them 10 times through, all of them. I'm a big movie guy.
They're incredibly they're incredibly good, all of them. You're shaking your head. Michelle's back there shaking her head. You ever get into Star Wars?
Oh, yeah.
Who's your favorite Star Wars character of all time?
It's a tough one.
It is tough.
I don't like evil people. I don't like bad people.
Me neither. You can't ever.
I mean, Anakin was a guy until he turned into Darth Vader, right? Yeah. So I mean, Anakin Skywalker probably, but not Darth Vader. They're two different people.
They are very different people.
They're very different people.
Dude, Darth Vader is actually freaking scary.
He is.
He really is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you didn't really understand how bad he was in the first couple, the originals back in my day. That dude he's scary.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we're nerding out right now. Okay. I'm going to ask you, this is a fun one. If your wife had to say one pet peeve about you, what would it be? She's got one pet peeve. What is that?
I'm gonna need a list to write all these pet peeves.
Well, I know there's probably 150 things.
I'm the worst. I got a lot of stuff. I drive my wife crazy. And
we drive all our wives crazy.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. I feel like every day I'm reminded I do something that drives her crazy every day. I'm so bad for it.
But there's got to be one thing, because every man has one thing.
I'm trying to think. I'm gonna say one, and then another one will come to mind later.
All right. He's listing them off.
All right, here's the one. I have terrible allergies. Our family has my dad's allergies were atrocious growing up.
Really?
And he passed them all to us.
Genetic.
I am an obnoxious nose blower. It sounds like an elephant going off in the room. It is so loud, and I can't stop it. I got to get everything out, and it drives her freaking crazy.
You snot rocket in the shower?
No, I don't do all that.
That's good.
No,
that's impressive. I don't believe you, but
no, it drives her nuts. She cannot believe why I blow my nose so hard. And
dude,
but she
it's
just don't
not
understand.
good for you, dude. You're gonna blow your sinuses right out your face.
I got a clogged something. My mom was just reminding me on Sunday dinner. So I do have some issues in the nose area, but you're right. I shouldn't do it. But
no, it's bad. It's
drives
actually
her
bad
crazy.
for you, dude.
Really?
Yes. It's bad for you.
I'll stop. But
it's bad for you.
I'm bad. I get congested. It's not my fault. I was born that way, but it drives my wife
This
crazy.
is an unpaid promotion. You need to take Clear, XLEAR. Game changer. I haven't
Actually,
had one
haven't tried
stuffy
it.
nose or runny nose since
Really?
I started taking it in 4 years.
I've been taking Zyrtec for a while
Oh,
and Sudafed for the decongestant, but
that one you need. That one you
Yeah.
need. But clear,
Clear.
you
Is
take
that-
it morning
is
and
that
night.
the allergy
I promise you. So I gave
that
it to
replaces the allergy pill?
I gave it to Ross Stripling, plays for the Giants right now, and he says every single MLB team should be giving this to their players.
Do you get that at the store?
You get it at the store. Yeah, you get it at the
It's
store.
a spray?
It's a spray, nasal spray. Take it night and morning. You'll never snore again. Like,
What?
I shouldn't say you'll never snore because there's definitely variables
Really?
that cause snoring. So if you snore, it's going to slow it down.
Clear.
Unpaid endorsement. I swear on my life. True story. Okay, couple more quick questions. What's your favorite shoe brand? Do you have a favorite shoe brand?
Nike.
Of course.
Nike Jordan together, though. I mean, come on. It's right there. That's all I wear.
Yeah, I got to show you
That's it.
I got to show you my setup in the office. You haven't seen it yet. All right. The last and final question. I know you can't answer this, so I'm just going to do the talking. I really hope you play for the Rams. Here he goes. He's not going to say anything. I really hope you play. There's a number of reasons why I think you would fit well in that organization. I think that you would also. There's a bunch of teams that I think you'd play well in. But that's where I hope you play. But I'm going to end with this. We're going to have a little fun. I don't know what the prize is yet, so Michelle, help me remind me. I'm going to throw this out to everyone that sees this. If you guess the team that drafts Jaren, you're going to get something. You're going to get something. It's probably not going to be the Rams. Man, I don't know. There's a number of teams. I think you'd be great inside the New Orleans organization. I think you'd be great inside of, gosh. Do you have any comments on this?
Nah, no comments.
Okay, so he's done. He's done. He doesn't. We're
That's it
done
for
here.
me today.
Anyway, it's going to be interesting. But for real, like, look for a link connected to this somewhere. If you guess where this dude gets drafted, you're going to get hooked up with something. So, dude, thanks so much for being on.
Absolutely. It was fun.
It's been fun, dude.
Yeah.
It's been so fun. And I'm so excited for you. I know all the viewers out there are, and we're all pulling for you, man. We're all pulling for you.
Thank you.
But in closing, well, first of all, I need to return your shoes.
Oh, yeah.
So Jaren, we were actually going to get ready to do an NFT project, which I don't even know what happened. So these are his shoes from his sophomore years. I'm not even going to hand them to you. They smell great, dude. Like, they're great.
No, this is USC because that terrible Coliseum dirt they have. They spray paint their grass, I swear.
Yeah, you guys were trashed.
Yeah,
I saw a
this
photo of
USC
you after the game, and
it's horrible.
it was like you were wearing red
Yeah,
or something.
I think they spray paint their grass.
Yeah.
USC and then babies from Utah.
Yeah, there you go. Here you go, dude. Return them back to you. Do you like these shoes? These are Zoom Airs,
Oh,
right?
these are sick. Until I hurt my foot, these is all I rocked. Yeah, love them.
So Jaren literally took 15 minutes trying to decide on his favorite cereal, but in the end, these are the ones, dude. Fruity Pebbles. I'd like to
Pebbles.
present you with
Thank you.
your
very
favorite
much.
cereal,
Take the
and
back.
yeah, take that back. Here's the cover.
Thank
Cover for you. But any final words of wisdom, or you?
Oh, snap. Nah. I
Go
got
Cougars?
nothing. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Are they going to be good this next year?
They'll be good. They'll be
I
just
think they're
fine.
actually going to surprise.
People, here's the deal. BYU is always going to be disrespected for whatever reason. I will never know. But I think that's what helps us play the chip on our shoulder. So, get used to it. It's always going to be the case, but I think they'll surprise a lot of people. I couldn't watch a lot of spring ball because I was in and out, but I heard some good things. It looked really good.
Yeah, I did too. Okay, I do have one more question.
Yeah.
Is this Pitt kid going to be the real deal that's coming on board? The dude from Pitt, quarterback.
Oh, Keaton?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a stud.
I've
Oh,
heard
yeah.
nothing. I had
Yeah.
Mason Wake in here the other day.
Yeah.
He's like, this dude he is a
No,
baller.
Keaton's a baller for sure.
That's
You
good.
get him in the right situation like he's in right now. I think
good.
he'll be just fine. A-Rod and them, they'll take care of him.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll keep talking. I'll keep talking if we don't stop right here. So, sayonara. Thanks for being with us.